A cold evening in Los Angeles, the city of dreams and dark secrets, where the air was heavy with tension. The media simultaneously broadcasted a shocking announcement: music producer Victor Reynolds arrested on charges of sexual abuse. A wave of shock swept across the music industry, where glamour often masked crimes. At the center of the investigation was Ethan, a 23-year-old once anticipated to become a major star. With a sweet voice and natural talent, Ethan quickly captured the attention of both the public and Victor. But as the allegations surfaced, he realized he was not just an artist. He was being drawn into a story filled with darkness and secrets. Outside the police headquarters, reporters jostled each other, camera flashes flaring non-stop, creating a chaotic scene. Photos of Ethan appeared on newspaper pages with shocking headlines: "Is he truly a victim? Or merely a pawn in the power game of manipulators?" These questions felt like daggers piercing Ethan's mind, making him anxious about his image. Just one moment of distraction could turn him into a victim of rumors and judgment. But at the same time, Ethan felt a flame of justice burning within him. He couldn't stand by and watch the one who manipulated him and other young artists continue to evade punishment. This battle was not only his but for all those who had ever been stifled by the manipulations of power. Standing at the crossroads of truth and lies, Ethan was ready to face the unknown, to uncover a brutal truth and seek light in the darkness. Ethan, a young 23-year-old, was once an online music sensation. Driven by a desire for fame, since the age of 15 or 16, he began posting cover videos of popular songs on social media. With a clear voice and captivating appearance, Ethan quickly garnered the attention of millions. His videos were more than just performances. They carried the soul and dreams of a young artist searching for the spotlight. But with fame came immense pressure. As his following skyrocketed, Ethan also faced the hidden traps within the entertainment world. He began to realize that behind the glittering stage lights lay a dangerous reality. Despite the love and admiration he received, he felt as though he was slowly being drawn into a perilous game where the powerful were always ready to manipulate the dreams of the young like him. Every song, every video was not only an opportunity to shine, but also a piece of the dark puzzle that was the music industry. The question loomed overhead: was the spotlight a promise or just a trap? As he advanced in his career, the dark secrets of those behind the industry gradually came to light. Ethan's journey was not just a quest for his dreams. It was a battle for survival between light and darkness, between talent and manipulation. And as he sought fame, he would soon realize that dreams could quickly turn into nightmares. A terrifying truth awaited him, and Ethan would have to face a battle that not everyone could survive. When Ethan stepped into the conference room of the entertainment company, the atmosphere felt heavier. The walls were lined with images of famous artists that Victor, the powerful music producer, had supported, amplifying the pressure he felt. Victor was a legendary figure in the industry, renowned not only for his talent but also for the secrets surrounding him. Many stories were whispered about the artists who had collaborated with him, those who rose to fame only to vanish without a trace. The meeting began with Victor's confident smile, his gaze cold and compelling. He was not just a talent scout, he was the one who held the fate of artists in his hands. Although anxious, Ethan also felt a thrill at this major opportunity. Victor saw potential in him and ignited in him an intense ambition. After a conversation that lasted nearly an hour, Ethan and his mother realized that this was the gateway to a new world. Despite lingering doubts, he decided to join Victor's company. In a short time, Ethan quickly became a music sensation, with his fame soaring rapidly. But behind the glow of fame, was there something more terrifying awaiting him? Beneath the glossy surface, Ethan began to sense hidden manipulation. Perhaps this fame was not simply a dream, it could be a trap Victor had set for young artists like him. Questions began to arise: was he truly becoming a star, or just a pawn in Victor's game of power? The relationship between Ethan and Victor developed quickly, like two brilliant stars in a mysterious night sky. Victor, with his magnetic and persuasive demeanor, frequently praised Ethan's talent in public, making him feel as if he were living a dream. Compliments from someone as powerful as Victor brought a sense of achievement and glory that Ethan had always longed for. Yet the more he was celebrated, the more Ethan felt an invisible pressure mounting. At entertainment events, being close to Victor was not only support but also a looming shadow that obscured Ethan's own light. Every time he stood beside Victor, Ethan could feel the gaze of the audience scrutinizing him, as if they were waiting for something greater from him. He began to grow more reserved, the bright smile of a young, ambitious man gradually replaced by apprehension and anxiety. The sense of confinement grew stronger in Ethan's mind, as he realized that every step he took was monitored, every decision influenced by the man he once idolized. This shift in his psyche made Ethan feel as if he were drifting on a rudderless boat in the vast ocean of fame. He was not just a singer, he was a plaything in the hands of a manipulator. The dazzling dreams had now taken on a darker hue, as he realized that the spotlight Victor created might just be a trap designed to imprison the dreams of young artists like him. The struggle between his desire to shine and the fear of being manipulated became an unavoidable battle within Ethan's mind. Ethan was no longer the passionate young man. He had become a victim in a horrifying case that he never could have anticipated. After years of living under the spotlight of fame, he suddenly fell into a psychological crisis when Victor's ex-wife, a powerful music producer herself, came forward to expose the crimes he had kept hidden for so long. The media coverage was like a ticking time bomb, shaking the entire music industry. Victor was not just a talent builder, but also a sexual predator who manipulated and abused many young artists. A feeling of guilt pierced Ethan's soul like a sharp knife. He realized that he was not just a victim of sweet talk or dreamy promises, but a participant in the dangerous game Victor had orchestrated. Dark memories of times when he forced himself to please Victor resurfaced, causing him immense pain. Why had he let himself fall into that trap? Every moment from the past now felt like pieces of a dark puzzle, where Ethan finally recognized the central role he had played. Victor had exploited his talent and innocence, turning dreams into nightmares. Each song, each recording session carried hidden threats that he hadn't seen at the time. Shame, guilt, and anger consumed him as he realized he was not the only victim. He bore the responsibility for the other artists who had stood beside him and were also pushed into darkness by Victor's powerful hand. In an industry riddled with secrets, Ethan decided he would no longer stand by and wait for fate. He would fight not just to reclaim himself, but to bring light to other victims in the battle against manipulation and violence. Now he was not just a victim, but a warrior, ready to face harsh truths and fight for justice. At a glittering music event, where lights and music fused to create a lively atmosphere, Ethan felt lost amidst the crowd. While everyone gathered around famous stars, he stood alone, carrying wounds too deep to share. Suddenly, a girl with determined eyes appeared. Mia, a name Ethan had never heard before, but the light in her eyes made him feel an inexplicable connection. As they began talking, Ethan quickly realized that Mia was no stranger. She had been one of Victor's victims, someone who had endured the pain he was struggling to comprehend. With every word, Mia opened a world that Ethan never thought he would enter. She spoke of dark experiences, of being manipulated and harmed by Victor. But what warmed Ethan's heart was Mia's strength. She was not only finding her way past her trauma, but was also determined to fight for others. Mia encouraged Ethan not to let fear control his life. She believed that together they could make a difference, not just for themselves, but for other young artists who were silently suffering. Together, they decided they would no longer be victims. They would become warriors in the fight against manipulation and abuse. Embarking on their quest for justice, Ethan and Mia were determined to gather evidence of Victor's abuses. They stealthily recorded information, connected with other victims, and sought proof that could expose Victor's true nature. Every step was fraught with risk, but also filled with hope. They knew that what they were doing could put them in danger, but nothing would stop them. In the dark corners of the music industry, where secrets were often buried, Ethan and Mia chose the light. They would not merely exist in fear, they would fight to uncover the truth and create a new path for victims like themselves. Their friendship and resolve were guiding lights, and with each passing moment they moved closer to the justice they craved. When Victor was arrested, the music world was shaken. Reporters hurried to gather outside the police headquarters, cameras raised to capture every crucial moment of the arrest. The headlines blared like a storm, the manipulator behind the stage lights exposed. But the truth behind the name Victor Reynolds was darker than anyone could imagine. He was a sexual predator who covertly manipulated the minds of young artists, turning them into pawns in his power game. Hundreds of victims, from young girls to passionate young men, now stood under the lights, revealing the harsh reality. Victor not only abused their bodies but also threatened their spirits with sensitive footage, forcing them into silence. Behind the fame of many artists lurked the shadow of a predator, manipulating and controlling. Ethan, one of the victims, stood in the eye of the storm. He felt as though he was living in a nightmare where the truth had been distorted and every memory was an unbearable burden. Guilt and shame clung to him as he realized he was not only a solitary victim but part of a toxic system where musical dreams could swiftly turn into nightmares. As stories from other victims began to surface, the fear and despair spread beyond Ethan. Other young artists started to find the courage to stand up, assert their rights, and speak out against Victor. This battle was no longer just Ethan's and Mia's. It was a revolution, a quest for justice from which there was no turning back. They knew that while the light of truth could be painful, it could also mark the beginning of a brighter future. After a long period of suffering and waiting, the trial finally took place. Victor Reynolds, the once famous and powerful music producer, now stood before the court, his face no longer bearing the confidence it once did. The truth about the crimes he committed against numerous young artists began to unfold. Witnesses, including Ethan and Mia, spoke out, bringing light to the dark corners Victor had tried so hard to hide. Finally, the verdict was announced. Victor was convicted of sexual abuse and psychological manipulation and sentenced to serve time in a notorious prison known for housing some of the most ruthless inmates. Behind those thick walls, Victor would no longer wield any power. He would face the vengeance of others who had also been victims of violence. There, he could become a target for retribution from other prisoners at any moment. Meanwhile, Ethan embarked on a new chapter of his life. With Victor convicted, he realized that no one could manipulate or threaten him anymore. His journey to recovery was not easy, but he knew it was time to regain trust in himself and his music career. He began writing songs infused with the pain and endurance he had experienced, transforming his dark experiences into strength. Ethan decided to use his voice not just to make music, but to support other young artists who were still bound by fear and shame. He launched a movement calling for change in the music industry, demanding transparency and safety for everyone pursuing their dreams. Through his songs, stories, and brave actions, a light of hope gradually returned, not only for him but for other young artists who had been manipulated by powerful figures like Victor. This journey was not just a fight against the past, it was a revolution to create a better future for the music industry.